Okay, we're going to start with the fourth persona, John Smith. John Smith feels lonely and needs support. And he represents about 43% of people looking to switch. He's grown up a Christian. He is looking for a church that can, give him a support group and a community. And he wants someone that practices what they preach. And what he means about that is love one another, help those in need. He feels like he's the one on the end of that rod that needs the help. And he feels like he needs a place that can really show him the love because he needs it. And so describing his kind of needs, there's three videos I included to help you understand what he is going through, what John's going through. The first one is this video about seeking deep fellowship with God. So in the case of loneliness, they feel like they're all alone, and you'll see this video of this woman, but that God doesn't listen to them, and they are by themselves. They're scared, they're lonely, they ask for help, but he doesn't respond back. And those are a very sad situation to be in. And that's where John feels like he is. They want to find people, it's not going to be a show, they want to find people that know them well and love them. So he could be surrounded with tons of people in his other church, and they could come and welcome him, but he just doesn't feel like they know him, who he is. They don't care for him. And it's like he never existed. So he wants that community. He wants people that get to know him, love him, that's appreciative for what he's done. And then the third one is he wants friends. He wants friends. And to him, it's been hard for him to make friends his whole life. He hadn't had a lot of friends. He doesn't know how. And he wants people that can befriend him because he's never had that experience. And that's a really lonely thing to think about, that you've never had friends. And maybe he has some, but he just didn't recognize them. But he is in the situation, to summarize, where he feels like God doesn't listen. Even though there are people around him, no one knows him, and he's never felt like he's had a friend. It's one of the most dire conditions in life to be lonely, and you can watch these videos. It's one of the worst. It's like this. He says it's a vacuum of loneliness in life. They can't just fill. And that's where John sits right now, and it just won't go away. Most people find that they eat dinner by themselves, lunch by themselves, breakfast by themselves. They come home, they're by themselves. Even if they're married, they feel like they're by themselves. And that is kind of what John's feeling. So when looking for a church, he is looking for a leader that can come in, welcome him, and get to know him. And that to him is super important, that someone becomes his friend, because he's never had it. And that leader will strike the chord for the rest of the congregation to follow. He's looking for a style of service that isn't just about the service in general, but can provide a way for him to meet with others. He wants friends in that congregation, and he wants a way to socialize, to give him activities so he can be part of this congregation. If you can give him, attention, friends, and you can give him social interactions, he would be ecstatic. And if people got to know him, this would be the place where he felt like his prayers have been answered and that he's not all by himself. Now, churches have been able to look at this, and what they've done because it's such a big problem. Loneliness is a really big problem in the Christian community. They are trying to, amongst leadership, talk about how do you get people to feeling like they belong. Um, they invite volunteers to engage and befriend these people. They make friendship and befriending a topic in their services that they talk about. So they preach it, but they assign people to help out. They try to build a community among members through activities, through getting involved, and they actually promote friendship. So as you're thinking, there are people in your congregation that are lonely, and it comes from the top down to create an environment where they could be all feel like they're together, that there are people out there. When you're building a relationship with someone like John Smith, it is not a, hey, I spoke to you, I am out, right? Call me once, call me in a year. No, you become his friend, and you're probably his only friend. And he's going to reach out to you. He's going to have questions. And if you don't respond, he's going to wonder, man, did I blow that friendship? Because you're his only one, versus you may have like 10 friends or 20 friends that are close. And you're like, oh, I got enough friends. But to him, you're his only one. And that's how I used to think about John Smith. I've included some resources here for you to study about John Smith. And they're not only questions, but they're like some resources to understand him a little bit better. So the first one is 10 questions to ask yourself when you feel discouraged and worthless. That's what he feels like, right? Discouraged, worthless. What should you ask yourself when you feel like that? Because he probably feels like that every single day. And then another one is loneliness FAQ, right? Questions, answers of how they help people that are lonely. I included 2 resources because they are different, but it gives you answers. It gives you ideas on topics you might write to help people that are lonely. And then the last one is 6 things to say to someone who's depressed. Now, loneliness is highly associated with depression and other symptoms. So take that into consideration, that you could use that content to help out as well as you're thinking of ideas. So if you can provide a friendship, and John says, man, Steve, thanks for being my friend. This has helped me out a lot. What do you do next? Well, the first thing you do is, first thing he's going to want to do is say, hey, can I visit this congregation? Because, if they're as good as you are and you're helping me out, I'd love to get to know it. So he's going to want to go there. He's going to want to talk to those members. He's going to, then he's going to ask his friends, he may not have many, but he's going to ask people and say, hey, I'm going to this church. Because if it's that ecstatic, he's going to say, what do you think about it? And then he's going to want to talk to the clergy. He's trying to create that support group. And he's also wondering, is this too good to be true? And as he asks other people, he's going to know, what am I getting into? Because in a way, I can imagine him being skeptical since he's never had this before. So he's going to look at those 4 criteria in making his decision. I wrote one article I did a lot of research here, but I titled it, You Are Not Alone. So, the title is important because it hits him straight on, where if he's reading it, he's like, alone, I'm alone. Oh, I'm not alone. He sees Christ. And I picked this picture because Christ is holding kids and he's showing love. And I want John Smith to feel love. And then I titled, What Will It Take to Love Myself? And when you're lonely, you may not like yourself. You may say, I don't have any friends. I'm just, man, what am I doing wrong? And then my call to action was very clear, because I'm targeting people lonely. Let me know if you need a Christian friend. And I have had people reach out to me asking to introduce them to other people that can help them out. And I thought, this is awesome. So have empathy, knowing you're engaging in a friendship for life at this point, and you might be his only friend, and introduce him to a lot more people, because some of the concerns people have are, man, if I do, and if I work with people like John Smith, I just don't have enough time. Well, if you don't have enough time and you're, say, in a remote location, introduce him to other people locally that can be his friend. And the more people you introduce him to, the more you will space out the amount of ministry that you need to do in others to help them out. Hopefully this was helpful, and we're going to go into the fifth persona. Coming up is people who feel unappreciated but want to serve.